Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about whether the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should or should not take a cornerback early in the 2025 NFL Draft. And when I say early, I don't mean just round one, right? I'm typically talking about rounds 1 to 3, where you can still find high-level impact starters in those rounds. I mean, look, Jamel Dean was a second or third round pick. Apologies. Mike Edwards, safety, third round pick. Jordan Whitehead, safety, fourth round pick. Carlton Davis, second round pick. Okay, the Bucs have had very good success investing in the secondary in rounds 2 to 4, rather than in say round one. Antoine Winfield Jr. was a second round pick. People forget about that one as well. But there's some interesting quotes here from Jason Licht about the cornerback room. Similar thing with Todd Bowles as well. And I do want to say this, by the way. I didn't get to fully address this until the end of my edge rusher video. It depends on how the board falls, right? The Buccaneers should not reach per se for just any type of cornerback. You want to make sure that it's a guy that fits your defense, and you want to make sure it's the right cornerback that is available, okay? I feel like that goes without saying, but I do think that is important to remind everybody that it's not just, well, go get a guy who plays excellent man coverage, but the Bucs just play a ton of zone, right? Well, of course that wouldn't make a ton of sense. You're setting that player up for failure, right? Nor would the Buccaneers do that, in my opinion. But anyway, with that caveat being stated, here are some of the quotes. Jason Licht, when asked on the cornerback position and what's available in the draft, Jason Licht had this to say. It's a pretty good draft there throughout the entire draft. We'll see how it falls to us, but we could use some help there, whether it's depth, whatever it is, we could use some help there. When asked on Tampa Bay's defense only intercepting 7 passes in 2024, I talked about it here on the channel. That's the lowest in Buccaneers franchise history, by the way. Jason Licht said, "Trust me, there's nothing Todd Bowles wants more. One of the things he wants is more interceptions." When asked on cornerback Jamel Dean, Jason Licht had this to say. "So Jamel, he's had some injuries in the last couple of years. He was a really good player not too long ago. He has high expectations for himself. We have high expectations for him, and we feel good about Jamel." But again, Jason Licht very much made a note of the injury history there with Dean. Then, when asked on how he feels about Tampa Bay's cornerback position, Licht said, "Good. I think we've made some improvements, and we're in a better place than we were last year." So that does kind of contradict a little bit of what he said in terms of we could use some help there, whether it's depth, whatever it is, we could use some help there. A little bit of a contradiction, but I technically understand what he is saying. Yes, they did bring back Bryce Hall. He is expected to be healthy this upcoming season, and they did bring in Kindle Vildor. So yes, technically Jason Licht is not wrong there in some ways. Then Todd Bowles, the next day on April 4th, 2025, when asked on the cornerback position, Todd Bowles didn't mince words. He said, "We don't have a lot of depth." That's crystal clear. We don't have a lot of depth. We hope to address that at some point in the draft as well. We didn't sign many in free agency. We signed Kindle Vildor and we signed Bryce Hall. He's coming off of an injury, and we've got to see what Vildor can do. Obviously, we're going to address that in the draft. So Todd Bowles has essentially said, yeah, we're taking a cornerback at some point in the draft. At least one cornerback will be taken in the upcoming draft, and it sounds like it's speaking more to an outside cornerback being selected, right? And whenever you pair Bryce Hall coming off of an injury, how is he going to look? Yes, Kindle Vildor was brought in, but nobody knows how he's going to do until he gets out there. And you pair that with Jamel Dean's injury history, and even Jason Licht saying, hey, he was a good player not too long ago, but he's had a lot of injury concerns. Yeah, the Bucs are going to take a cornerback in this upcoming draft. Todd Bowles said that, but when will they be taking a cornerback? Well, I think that you can see really anything on the table. Now, I am still of the mindset of, hey, take Jihad Campbell if he's there at pick number 19, or if the right edge rusher is there at pick number 19, go with the right edge rusher at pick 19 if Campbell is not there. And I still believe that, but I wouldn't be completely baffled, confused, jaw dropped. How could they do this if they took a cornerback in round number 1 at pick number 19? I don't necessarily know if the right cornerback will be available for them at that selection, given how all the boards have fallen and mock drafts and things along those lines. But hey, if the right guy does drop pick 19, go for it. Wouldn't be mad about that at all. It makes 100% sense to me. But where I do think cornerback does start to make more sense based on what Jason Light is saying, based on what Todd Bowles is saying, is hey, get an outside cornerback round 2, maybe round 3. I don't necessarily know I would push it much farther than that. I would say at the latest get an outside cornerback in round number 4, an outside perimeter cornerback who can be your maybe 3rd or 4th outside cornerback battling out for that position with Bryce Hall, and then go from there. I don't think the Buccaneers can afford to get a guy in round 5, 6, 7, or an undrafted guy yet again, right? Because I do agree, they do need more depth. You had Josh Hayes do some interesting things. To be honest, Tyreek Thunderberg, I like the young man, but he was thrown to the wolves last season, right? And while I'm sure that was some good experience for him to get, the Bucs can't run into another situation like that again this upcoming season. It would be absolutely inexcusable. And I also think that the Bucs could have done a better job of bringing in some veteran talent on that practice squad last year. I do put that on Jason Light. They could have structured that practice squad a little bit better. And maybe that's something Todd Bowles is going to communicate more this upcoming season. We could see them add another veteran or two after the NFL draft as well. But I fully believe that cornerback is going to be on the table between rounds 1 to 4. Okay? I think they are going to take a cornerback between rounds 1 to 4. At the absolute latest, round 4. Right? Depending on what round that is, I think fully dictates as to how the board falls. Okay? And I would be satisfied with any one of those, right? I think the sweet spot for me personally, James personally, is rounds 2 to 3. If you get a cornerback in round 2 or in round 3, I'm very much happy with that. It's a very good thing based on what I want the Bucs to do in round 1 and how I feel about the Bucs maybe being a bit late of a pick in round number 4. Although, hey, if a guy starts falling, if Mello Dotson or Kobe Bryant's there in round 4, two of those great corners out of Kansas, if they're available in round 4, cool. No problems with that. Maybe they trade up in round 3. Maybe they trade up in round 2 and get another cornerback as well. But I do think they need to take a cornerback early-ish, right? And I consider rounds 1 to 3 early, right? After that, you get into the middle to later rounds. I think they should take a cornerback early, given all the injuries that they have had, given the comments that we are seeing here from the head coach and the general manager. It's something that needs to be done. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts on Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.